What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? We in this thing. Sorry for the late start. These 4:30 to 1 p.m. shifts all week have been whooping my behind like Tank Davis did Ryan Garcia. But we in here, baby. We got our coffee. Stay high. We got the water. Gotta stay hydrated, baby.
Yes. Stay
But we,
hydrated. The weather is getting warm, hot in some places for some of y'all. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, yeah.
So we in here. We in here. How you feeling, Brody?
Yo, I'm feeling good, man. Yep, I'm happy to be back, man. Another week. I just want to send a shout out to all the friends and the fam and everyone out there. I hope everyone has a blessed week and
Yes.
stay positive, man.
Right on. Right on. Right on. Drink your water and mind your business.
Yeah, there we go. I like that one. I need a
Before
t-shirt for
that. Exactly. Before we get started, we're gonna send a shout out to the sponsors. You want to book any photo shoots, podcasts like what you're watching, music videos, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fit Boxer. And we jumping straight in, man. We got a little fun topic. We always talk about sports franchises. We got college football, NCAA college football will be coming back, I believe, the 2024 season. So it leads to the question: what are your top three sports game franchises?
Yeah, so this one is actually a very interesting one. I'm gonna let you know right now. It ain't Madden, but but hey, early Madden was cold, man. Early Madden was cold, man.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna hit you with something if you remember this one, Ralph. Backyard sports, which had backyard football, backyard baseball. Pablo Sanchez.
I was gonna say Pablo Sanchez was the man, no matter what sport you played.
What was that gift? He's the GOAT. The video.
Yeah.
Yo,
it don't matter what sport you played. Pablo Sanchez was gonna be. He was gonna be that the first person you need on your team.
Bro, he was all world. I used to have a lineup of Pablo Sanchez, Kenny Kawaguchi, and I stayed with Ahmed Khan. He's my power hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
Man. So I'm gonna go backyard sports. I like the Tony Hawk pro skater franchise, man. That was cool. I used to play as Kareem Campbell because he was the only black one, man.
Yeah.
I like Kareem Campbell. Plus my big bro's name is Hakeem. So Kareem and Hakeem, it rhymes. So I was like, yeah, this is cool, man. And then that last one, it was tough. But I'm gonna roll with that NBA Street, man. That NBA Street was for me, man. That I stayed on that.
Like, the Street Series.
Yes, it's on the PlayStation and PS2, man. And you could play with Carolina Jordan. I was like, So that's me. I just went with fun. I just went with things that were fun for me. So I'm curious what yours are.
I think when you go back, and I think some of these are gonna be like, obviously I love 2K.
Yeah.
Even while there was a 2K, we still were playing NBA Live.
Yeah.
Until all that. Yeah. Until probably, I'd say we were playing NBA Live up until like 2008.
Facts.
I know for sure once they had the 2K10 when you were able to play with Jordan for the first time, and then you had the whole like all of the side missions and things that happened in his career, you could play those moments, and that's when 2K took over. But NBA Live was holding it down, bro. You had the Jason Kidd version. You had you had Vince Carter on the cover. You had Carmelo Anthony on the cover. Then they had like the power up players where you had like Steve Nash was able to throw alley oops, like just crazy alley oops, and then Amari Stoudemire was like the power dunker.
Yeah,
I think even going all the way back to like my earliest memories of being able to play like video games, NBA Live was the one for me. So I feel you on some of the ones that you put because they have such nostalgia to my upbringing. Yeah. So like to bridge it to the next one, the show, MLB The Show. Ooh. I think it's one of the better sports franchises because you're able to get into the nuances of you kind of learn what it is and what it's like to be an a Major League Baseball player, to where you work your way through single A, double A, triple A, all the way up to the majors, and you learn those inner workings and what it's like, because you see the glitz and glamour of the major leagues, but then when you in that double A Birmingham Barons or triple A Birmingham Barons, it's like that. Then you see where they're playing. They're riding buses. They're not getting on flights. The meals that they eat, the behind the scenes stories. I think that MLB The Show is one of the dopest franchises, and it's in the last spot.
It's always tough, man. It's always a tough one. That last one, man.
Oh, it's
It could
so
be old.
hard.
It could be new. It could be, well, I don't know how new, but you know what I'm saying.
Cause Madden.
Early Madden was cold, bro.
Early Madden was so dope, man. And then
early Madden was so
like
dope.
even lately, WWE 2K is actually a real. I just bought. I was able to get through my PlayStation account. I was able to get like the free version of it.
Okay.
I got like the free. I got 2K, not the newest one, but the one with Rey Mysterio for free. And so I'm playing that, and I'm like, yo, this is fun. I don't know why. Like, I've been seeing them, but I just like been skipping over them.
Okay.
FIFA. Honestly, I'm probably gonna go. My three favorites is gonna be NBA Live, The Show, and FIFA.
All right. I used to play that on the. I think they had FIFA on. You could play that on the 64 as well too, right?
Yes.
Because I had that back in like when I was like young.
Speaking of 64, you remember the Kobe?
Oh yeah, the courtside joint.
Yeah, when he do the crossover and throw it over his shoulder.
He threw it over his shoulder. And I was like, what?
I was like, bro, that is a carry, but it's all right.
Before we move on, Ralph, I've been trying to find it. I mean this. I'm gonna find it and post it post it up. He actually did that in the 98 All-Star game warm-ups with Tim Duncan, and Tim Duncan just looking at him like, all right. Like, this guy, and I can't find it, but I saw it on like the NBA. I think they posted on their Instagram like a couple years back. I was like, bro, that was so cool. He did it in the warm-ups because he was street ball early.
Right.
Yeah, man. All right.
And then next up, man, we got the blame game, man. We got some teams that we thought should be or would be in the second round of the playoffs, and we're going to get to that later. But first off, we got Giannis had a very passionate press conference, press conference. But it leads you to the question, who is to get the blame?
So, with all due respect, I heard about Mike Budenholzer's situation. I believe his brother, so I want to send my condolences out to him. I believe died in a car crash. And so when I heard about that, I thought about the series and the mental aspect of that. That really does have a psychological effect on people. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know how he deals with death, if he believes a transition and all that. I'm not going to get into that. But I kind of factored it in as well with the series, but also I've also said that Mike Budenholzer is an overrated coach, and he irritates me with the lack of adjustments that you know what I'm saying. And I'm not the only one who says it. So I look at the coaching, Ralph. I look at Giannis, whatever holes in Giannis's game that he has when he came back, aka the free throw, right? It really did matter. It did matter because he was so scared at one point to get fouled that he chucked the ball at Chris Middleton, and Middleton was like, huh? He didn't see the ball coming. I was like, yo, you shot 43% from the free throw line, bro, in that game. And I'm like, you missed 13 straight. So, and a chance to extend the series, I look at Giannis in at the line, right? When they needed him most. Okay. However, he came out there injured and had 38 points and 20 rebounds, right? So when he talked about the failure situation, he actually kind of put his foot in the mouth because at the end of his quote, he talked about like the team, and he said that the Miami Heat, Ralph, were playing to win the series. We were playing to win the championship. Well, if that's the case, then as a team, yeah, you failed at your goal. So I was like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it just because I like you, bro. I'm like, I
Right.
would hold LeBron James and KD to the same standard. They would drag them through the mud, right? So I
Right.
have to hold them to
Right.
that standard to get better. So I think the blame goes around. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 25% of the pie goes to Giannis. 25% goes to the teammates in terms of them getting cooked defensively, them not hitting shots at times. I don't know what happened in game two. It seemed like an anomaly when they hit 25 threes, a
Right.
playoff record. And then that's 50%. And then I'll give the other half to Mike Budenholzer because he didn't have his best player for two of those games, but there were things that we discussed in our previous show that I think that he could have definitely made adjustment wise on the defensive end, like trapping Jimmy Butler,
Right.
playing Jay Crowder, a couple different things. So with all due respect to his situation, I'm going to give him. I still got to give him. You know what I'm saying? It's just such a dicey subject because I don't really. I want to be respectful about it.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
Next up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm gonna let you take that because I took like a whole bunch of time on that.
It's
So
all
I'm gonna
good.
let
It's
you
all
go.
good.
Okay.
We got time. We got time. I'm gonna go Cleveland. I'm with Cleveland. I'm gonna blame it more. I'm not gonna. I hate this way that this sounds, but I think at some point you either gotta go. I'm gonna blame the GM for no bench depth,
Ooh, okay.
but also just the Knicks wanted it more, man. Like you, I think at the end of the day, you have a lot of talent on that team. You have more talent. Like we talked about before in the previous show, when you look at the top 8 players on in this series, you have 4, maybe 5, and somehow you lose in what was it, 6 games?
Yep.
6 games.
I believe it was 6 if I'm mistaken. I'll pull it up just to find out to make sure.
But it's like that game, that series. If it's when you have that much talent on the court, when you have someone, a Jared Allen, who's going to be in the defensive player of the year, defensive team conversations every year.
5 games.
Right. Like it's like I thought I remembered it going 5 games, but it's like then you got Donovan Mitchell, who might be the best player at his position. Some people argue that. I disagree. Darius Garland, a good young point guard, top 10 point guard. You got Evan Mobley, who is a budding star in this league, and then you have the Leverts, Rubios, but then after that, it's a huge drop off. And so it's like when you look at the Knicks, you have a bunch of players that are going to play hard. You have a bunch of players they might not be the best at what they do, but Julius Randle is going to be physical. Jalen Brunson is going to be physical. Josh Hart, physical. Then you got R.J. Barrett, who's going to go out there and give you buckets. You got Emmanuel Quickly, who's going to go out there and give you buckets. Obi Toppin is a big athletic body, and so I think I'm going to give it to GM. I'm going to blame 50% on GM, and I just think the Knicks wanted it more.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Knicks with them, they wanted it more. I'm gonna give Mitchell some blame as well, only because this and if anyone knows me, I've actually gotten on Mitchell in the past. He's not one of my favorite players, but I don't hate him or anything. I understand the skill set, but I did say that he's a high volume player who would wind up taking a lot of threes when he was on Utah, and then like when it stopped him or whatever. I was like, bro, you need to learn how to affect the game in other ways. And I actually think that the next elevation route of his game is look at guys like Jason Tatum, even though he plays like power forward position, small forward position. But look at guys like him and look at guys like really Devin Booker, excuse me, and getting what do you call it, your teammates involved, right? I know D Wade and then I think it was like Kenny and all these other people. They've talked about this before. Like that's really the next elevation, I believe, of his game. If he can get those other guys to come with you in the playoffs at times, I think that could also be a stepstone. And also defensively, he did take strides in the regular season. I don't know what happened in the postseason, but
Right.
Devin Booker, you saw what Devin Booker was doing in the postseason last round. So
right.
yeah, defensively be a little bit better than Mitchell, but you grow from it.
So. And then next up, Sacramento Kings.
The Kings. Honestly, go ahead.
Who is getting the blame?
Okay, yeah. So for that one, man, like honestly, I thought the Kings they played really well, man. They played the defending champs. They went to 7 games. When I look at the blame, really, I really have too many people to blame. Maybe you could say Malik Monk, in the post game talking about, so yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that next game, man. They was tired. We're gonna do the same thing, and like you give the defending champs bulletin board material, but I mean he's just discussing stuff. From what I saw, and I'm kind of curious to who you give the blame. The third quarter, they just weren't there. I thought it was I was kind of chuckling, not at them, but I was kind of chuckling because Malik Monk mentioned them being tired, and yet in the third quarter, Steph went off. Well, Steph was going off anyway, but the Kings they weren't scoring. Ralph, you saw it. I was like, bro, but they looked sluggish. They looked sluggish at times. I felt like there was no movement offensively. They were missing shots, and they just kind of looked like, okay, we kind of puttered out. It's like we made it to the end, and it's like, all right, we're just going to die in the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter comes, and Curry's just going to continue to kill us. So, but then again, I picked the Warriors to win in 7 because I did say, remember, I said Curry's going to at some point just go off on them. I didn't expect the 50-point close out game 7. That was very impressive. But yeah, I just thought they looked sluggish in the third quarter. Maybe you saw some things in terms of blame, but I don't know really who to put the onus on. I thought they played well as a team for the most part.
I think part of it there's a couple of different ways you can go. I think the blame there's 100%. You start breaking chunks down.
Okay.
So when you look at the game, all right. So I understand we were putting Davion Mitchell on Steph.
Yeah. Go ahead.
In game 5, we decided to go with a different look. Let's go Terrence Davis. He gives us a different look. And it worked. Well, not game 5, game 6.
Right.
And it worked.
Yeah.
He played well. I don't have his numbers as far as the game itself in front of me, but he played well. He was hitting shots, gave Steph a different look. So then now you put him on Steph in game 7, barbecue chicken. And then it's like Steph gets cooking early, and it's like I don't think you give Davion Mitchell enough burn in that game 7. So that right there, I'm gonna give 25% to Bullet Head. I'm gonna give 25% to Bullet Head as you call him. Yeah, then at that point, when did the series really start to turn around? In game 4, when De'Aaron Fox fractures his index finger. Because now he led the league in fourth quarter scoring. He's the most clutch player in the league, you could say. He won the award for most clutch player
for the season.
For the season, and so now he just never looked right when it came. You've seen him lose the handle a couple of times a game, pretty much from that point on, and his jumper just wasn't right. And it's like when you look at that game in particular,
right?
They get the ball. Steph misses a bunny in the middle of the lane with 10 seconds left. You get the ball with an opportunity to go win the game, and instead of him being aggressive to go attack for him to get a bucket, he goes to attack, sees Harrison Barnes, which is my segue into another 25%.
I knew it.
Harrison Barnes. And I've been telling my brother this, and it's like it sucks because I think that what his role on this team was is he's kind of done his job. And so now you need an upgrade at that position.
That's fair.
Because Malik Monk showed that he's someone you can build around. De'Aaron Fox showed he's someone you can build around. Sabonis is one of your 2 all-stars on the team. Murray definitely showed that he's that he's a definitely future building block. So now at some point, you got to figure out, is Murray going to be your 3 or is Murray going to be your 4, and decide what direction you're going to go in when it comes to Harrison Barnes, because I feel like him missing those shots, he played 14 minutes in game 7. So at some point, Mike Brown was just like, I can't even play you, bro.
Yeah.
And so for you to be a veteran on the team, it's like, I got to move on from you, especially if I can't play you in game 7 and you're supposed to be the vet.
That's fair. That is fair. I definitely believe that they need another veteran piece that's going to be able to hit shots, because we've seen Harrison Barnes in the playoffs when he was with the Warriors, and that being an issue. So yeah, actually that's actually a really good point there. I didn't even think about that one. So yeah, I agree with you.
So I think like from there, it's this right here is I actually think that this player fits a couple different team needs.
Okay.
I think Norman Powell will be a great fit for this type of team. The ability to create a shot, the ability to catch and shoot. But I also think the Grizzlies is someone that we're going to talk about them next. Norman Powell to the Grizzlies would be very much what especially if the reports are true that they're not going to stick with Dillon Brooks, which leads to the next question. The Grizzlies, who is getting the blame? In my personal opinion, bro, I think too much is being made about the Dillon Brooks thing. I think that I do think like we talked about off the show yesterday, is you got to hold your L. Just hold your L, take it on the chin, pause if needed, and get in the lab, because when you look at his season stats, we know what he is. He's going to muck up the game. He's an enforcer on the team. He's going to play tough defense. He's going to go out there, compete. But it's like the only hole in his game, when you look at his numbers for what he is, you have Jaren Jackson, who's an all-star. You have John Morant, who's an all-star. You have Desmond Bane, who's going to go out there and get you 20 a game. So at that point, you have 3 players that can go get you 20. So you don't need Dillon Brooks to go out there and be trying to shoot all these shots. But when he does shoot, the one hole in his game is the 3-point shot. So he's supposed to be a 3 and D, but he's not. He's giving you the D, pause, but he's not making the shots.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like him shooting 32.6%. It's like you're being outshot by LeBron, and we don't think of LeBron as a shooter. So it's like you got to get in the lab. I just watched a podcast with Gil and Lethal Shooter.
Yeah.
You need to get in the lab, go get you a lethal shooter type shooting coach, and just really work on that part of your game, because I think that 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but shooting 32% from 3 is just not going to get it done. And I think that that's the part that they needed, as well as the other part of it. I'm going to blame it on injuries. I think Kenny Lofton Jr. should have got some burn. Really see what you can get out of him. He's a big body. The ability to keep Anthony Davis off the block, where I've compared him to the modern version of Charles Barkley. So I'm curious to see what they do with that as far as next year, but also getting healthy, missing Steven Adams, missing Brandon Clark, not playing Kenny Lofton Jr., while also not getting shooting from Dillon Brooks, is a culmination of why you would lose this series.
Okay. I think those are all valid points. I was just going to really go to two points. Obviously Dillon Brooks was one, actually 3. Luke Kennard as well, because you traded for Luke Kennard. And I'm like, bro, you had like 6'6". I think one game he had like 12 points or whatever. But you traded for him to be like a piece. And if Dillon Brooks isn't doing anything, whatever. But with the only thing issue with Dillon Brooks is I actually thought it was funny in terms of when he was going at LeBron. At one point, LeBron, he turned around and he said something to him. But my thing is, everyone wants to compare, oh, well, Mike wouldn't have done this or Kobe wouldn't have done this. And I'm not capping for LeBron, but I'll say this. If you're responding to what Brooks is saying, he got in your head at some point. And I saw that and I was like, wait, so he got in your head though. Now, ultimately though, and LeBron did try to go at him. So I mean, like, um, I just thought that the whole dynamic was interesting because I'm like, clearly something went on. But then they the next game after that, then they just destroyed them and hey, karma happens. But Taylor Jenkins, the coach, like you said, because with injuries, here's the thing with injuries, right? If we go throughout NBA history, right, everyone um everyone, just even like a champion, like they go through teams that get hurt. I mean, look at Tim Duncan. You have a lockout year. You have Patrick Ewing didn't play in the NBA Finals. You have the Warriors and the Warriors, the Raptors, the Lakers have gone through it. So injuries are always going to be a part of the I guess the journey, right? Because you never know who's going to get hurt. Unfortunately for the Grizzlies, your star player yet again, you're enduring another year. And I think we talked about this in our last episode. Something wound up happening with Ja Morant, and knock on wood, you don't want anything to happen with Ja Morant. I think the last year was the knee injury, right? And people said, "Oh, did Jordan pull intentionally?" I was like, "All right, I'm not even getting into that because that looked weird.
Right.
That looked weird, that looked weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on with that, man." But then I think it was his wrist, right?
His hand.
Oh, his hand, right? His hand. Okay, so me and shout out to Jamal too, the homie Jamal. Me and Jamal were talking about it because like Ja Morant, I think is, if I'm not mistaken, outside of like the Bulls players, like his favorite like guy, favorite player. And he agreed with me. He was like, "Bro, I'm like, Ja Morant needs to go to his floater, and he needs a mid range game. We talk about the 3-point shot, like get a mid range, bro. Like
Yeah.
seriously, because there's times when he goes in and he literally believes I'm just gonna go over the top of everybody. Russ tried to teach Ja when he came in early, but when you're young, part of the maturation process, people think they can go over the top of people. Once you get knocked down a few times or you wind up hurting yourself, then you learn. So my whole thing is just his play style. At some point in time, you got to be calculated. You got to be smart. I mean, Derrick Rose, God forbid, he wound up getting hurt, and then he kind of, he was shooting more and all that. But pick and choose when. You know what I'm saying? So I look at Ja Morant, and then Taylor Jenkins. I look at the substitutions, the coaching, the lack thereof of adjustments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are really the three areas for me with the Memphis Grizzlies, man. But other than that, man, I'm not blowing the team up. They do need to add another veteran, like we talked about, to that locker room. I mean, you have Steven Adams there. He's huge. You have Brandon Clark there, so we can't act like those pieces weren't huge. Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying? But you had Jaren Jackson Jr. and you hope that he could provide some form of resistance. But yeah, man, the Grizzlies, they'll figure some things out. We hope.
So next up, we got the NFL draft. We just wrapped up.
The draft.
Who are some of your winners, man?
All right. So the Philadelphia Georgia Bulldogs are my Nolan Smith, man. Like, come on. They got Nolan. They got the other boy, the DT. I forgot his name. They
Jalen Carter.
Yeah, Jalen Carter. Thank you, Jalen Carter. They loaded up the defensive line, Ralph, right? They're pretty much trying to create make sure they fill whatever void they may have had. I know they had Sue. Did Sue retire officially?
No, he's still available.
And what about Hargraves? Hargraves moved.
He went to the 49ers.
49ers, yeah. So he went Benedict Arnold. But yeah. So the Philadelphia Eagles, I thought they killed the draft, Ralph. Absolutely. A plus 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 plus. They killed the draft. I have nothing left to say on the Eagles. And then the next one, I got to go with the Houston Texans, man. The Houston Texans. What did they do? They said, yo, we're going to get a quarterback. Then they get a quarterback. What do they do after they get their quarterback? They say, oh, wait, you thought we was finished? We're not finished. We got unfinished business, right? We're going to do the best of both worlds like a Jay-Z album, right? And we're going to get, oh, boy, was it Will Anderson?
Yes.
We're going to get Will Anderson because we have who? We have the D'Amico Ryans, right? So D'Amico Ryans is building that defense. They have a Derek Stingley already on that defense at the cornerback position, and they have a couple other pieces. So I believe the Houston Texans, they're tired of losing. and they have a young nucleus that they're going to build around with star players. And then last but not least, I got to mention the Baltimore Ravens, man, who they have the newly freshly minted, signed, highest paid NFL quarterback in history. Shout out to his mom as well. They said there couldn't be none. No one believed in us. God damn it. So I know we got an echo now. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but hopefully we can get that figured out. But yeah, I gotta go with the Ravens because hey, they rewarded Lamar and got him his boy from Florida, Zay Flowers. So that's all. I'm gonna swing it back to you, man. I got nothing left to say. So
I got some. I think some winners. I think those are all winners. Like what you said, man. I think that they got some good spots. One of the things that for me, I'm actually really proud of the draft. Outside of there's some middle picks that I disagree with when it came to the Raiders, but okay. I would have liked them to take Jalen Carter when they had the opportunity, but I understand why. Henry Ruggs, who just pled guilty to the DUI manslaughter charge. Yeah, we got then Arnett and what happened with him, Gruden. So when you're coming off of that, the last thing you want is someone who's coming off of an incident, leaving the scene of an accident. So I get Tyree Wilson. I like him. Big, has the wingspan of Shaq, while also at 6'5", 6'6", getting an opportunity to learn behind a Chandler Jones, who is also another long-armed edge rusher, having Max Crosby on the other side. Then I like the move of getting a Michael Mayer, who some people considered the best tight end in the draft. Big body, receiving tight end, partnering him with a Devontae Adams. We still got Renfro. We just got Jacoby Myers. We got Trey Tucker in the third round. That's the one that I disagree with because I just don't think we needed another receiver. Unless we're gonna be able to make a move use Renfro for a move or something along those lines. But I think bolstering the offense to where we see Jimmy Garoppolo, although everybody believes he is a bridge quarterback, we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo come out and succeed when he has talent around him. When he's able to get the ball out of his hands, get to a Hunter Renfro, a Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, Michael Mayer now, handing the ball, being able to hand the ball to Josh Jacobs 20, 30 times a game. Mm-hmm. And so I think with that, while also being able to get an Aiden O'Connell in the later part of the draft, I said I had them, although I know we're talking about winners, and so B doesn't really sound like too much of a winner, but at the same time, there's good building blocks for this team. And so I had some winners and you mentioned them, so I'm gonna go with some losers.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And I didn't understand the Falcons. And you know how Me either. The Falcons and the Lions. I just didn't understand. You just signed Montgomery. Mm-hmm. You already had Swift. Mm-hmm. And then you take Jahmyr Gibbs. Mm-hmm. I just didn't understand that move. And then having Tyler Algier for the Falcons. I understand that Bijan Robinson. I know I was speaking glowingly of him and how I think he's the best. Actually, just not talking about how the importance of the running back to the team, but I think he has no holes in his game. And if you go through in all of the other prospects, you can find holes. Jalen Carter showed up late, not late, but he showed up out of shape to pro day. He has moments where we question his motor. Character issues, but when you start to think of him as a running back, there are no holes in his game. Amazing character, similar speed to a Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. What they call it, contact balance, slot receiver. He's a running back 1, wide receiver 2. So it's like I get it, but for your team, I just don't, I would need to see it because now, what did you just do to Tyler Algier, who just came off a 1,000-yard season?
Yeah,
And
I,
so
I I agree on that.
my two losers are the Lions as well as the Falcons. Now the Lions on one hand is like I just don't agree with where they picked certain things, but where the players that they got,
We're solid.
they're good players. It's just where they got them at and what they got them for. It's just I just don't understand some of the moves that they made.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I respect both of those. It's funny because I was so animated because we had the same teams. Those are my teams, but especially the Falcons because I talked about the Falcons because I thought it was a team that hey my quarterback might end up on. But so of course I vetted that team Ralph. I did my whole CIA scoping out, and Tyler Algier, he literally set the franchise single season rookie record rushing record, right? So you do that, right? Also, he averaged like 5 yards a carry when he was doing it. He became or was utilized as a three down back, right? So you already have that. I was like, why not invest in another receiver? Maybe if you can get a receiver. I know it was kind of rich, maybe high, but if you want to get JSN high, maybe get him. Why? Because you already have an outside guy in Drizzy Drake London, right? Drizzy Drake
Right.
London. Shout out to Drake, but yeah. So I was like, if you have a young quarterback and you're trying to see what you have in Desmond Ritter, why not get him another weapon? Yeah, But Arthur Smith, and I heard that Arthur Smith and Arthur Blank, I believe he's infatuated with the two back system ever since the days of Lindell White and Chris Johnson in Tennessee. So he saw that and he saw the two back system. And so I'm like, okay, but with that and Arthur Smith's gonna run you guys right into a losing record. So I mean,
Right.
hey, if you want to do that, that's it because he's on borrowed time. So I wouldn't have drafted Bijan Robinson that high. We and I think we've discussed about it. He's a Hall of Fame caliber potential, as they say, the ceiling is what he's projected to be, and the tape shows that he has the skills, the nuance, to play this game at an elite level and be a day one starter. But I just thought that with the backfield that you had, I didn't get it, especially when there was actually other running backs, Ralph, like you said, in the draft that you could have got even like in the third round, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like especially today, or you could pick up a back. So no disrespect to Bajan Robinson. So um, I don't get it. Like you're splitting carries. Like I mean, everyone splits carries now, but you know what I'm saying.
One
Just
thing that I can understand, and I'm gonna
you
go to
know,
the next topic because
yeah, because
I
time.
want to get these quick
Yes.
hitters too before we end the show. But
All right.
I could see it working because all right, if you put Drake London on one side, then you got Kyle Pitts on the other. Then you put Tyler in the backfield. I just mentioned how Bajan can play the slot.
He can. They don't use Pitts right though. Remember, that's
Right.
the issue.
And so it's
So
like
they yeah.
if you put Pitts on one side, put Drake on one side, and put Bajan in the
Mhm,
slot, if you don't
mhm,
already have a slot
mhm.
receiver, then it's like I
It's
can
a
see it working. So you kind of just get or you're just gonna like control the clock.
yeah, and build that defense.
We
Got
went
to
out
build
there.
that
We
defense.
went out there. You got Okuda on one side. You got AJ Terrell on one side. Grady Jarrett is an all pro type talent in the middle.
Yep.
So
Calais
you
for the
got
Ravens.
Calais that just came over from the Ravens, and so I think it can work. It's just one of those things that like you had other team needs. Why go there?
Fair enough.
And next up, we got the NBA second round playoffs.
Yes.
First up, you know what? The game's happening right now, so we're going to talk about it. Celtics versus the Sixers. No Joel Embiid for game one.
Mhm,
James Harden has a signature playoff game, pretty much.
mhm,
The
mhm,
first that we could say in a really long time.
mhm.
But Joel playing in this game, what you got? What you thinking?
All right. I'm gonna say it. I got the 76ers winning the series, ladies and gentlemen. I got the Philadelphia 76ers winning the series and beating the Boston Celtics in 6 games. I've convinced myself of this, man. Um, yes, I would love to see the 76ers in the playoffs. I have reasons for that. But James Harden, we talked about this, Ralph. We talked about James Harden elevating, his game, showing up, because I've always said that it's not that he can't score 40 anymore. It's all about the mentality and him being durable, right? And so he came out. He talked. I like his quote. He talked about how everyone said, "Oh, you can't win this way," and then I do it, and then, "Oh, well, you need to score." So he talked about the hypocrisy from like the media in terms of his approach to the game. And so he says he's doing what he's asked to do, right? And he's doing it well. And we actually saw that actually throughout the course of the season, there was times when he had low scoring games, and I think every now and then. But if he continues to do what he's required to do when need be, I think they'll be okay. It just depends on the health of Joel Embiid. But I don't want to get too far into it. The reason why I'm picking him is because I have questions, Ralph, about Joe Mazzulla now that we're in the postseason. This is not the regular season. This is the postseason. You need to make adjustments. So I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers. I may be in the minority, but I'm giving them a chance. I like what I saw out of Tyrese Maxey as well
Yeah.
from game one. So I'm going to go with the Sixers and 6. That's what I
I
got.
think the fact that the Sixers were able to get a game
Yeah.
was alarming.
On the
It's one of
road.
the things you kind of gotta what's the TikTok audio? Criminal side eye. It definitely you got to give a criminal side eye to the fact that you lost the game at home
that they shouldn't have lost.
that they shouldn't have lost. So it's
No.
like the one thing that you can say about Ime Udoka, and it sucks that I got to compare it because he went to the finals last year, and you have a better team this year, is his ability to make adjustments. He made adjustments. And this is the thing where he's gonna have to make an adjustment because you have too much talent on this team to lose that game one. So I had the Celtics going back to the finals, so I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with my pick.
Respect.
I'm gonna say Celtics in 6. I wouldn't be surprised if this series goes 7.
Me neither.
I'm not sure how many games can Joel play, and that's really what's gonna say how deep can the Sixers go.
That's fair.
I'm gonna say Celtics in 6. Wouldn't be surprised 7, but we're in for a good one.
Got to ride with your finals pick.
Sticking with the and we talked about nostalgia earlier in our childhoods. Now, if you know anything about watching basketball growing up, these Knicks and Heat playoff rivalries have always been really good. And so far, you got the Heat coming out getting game 1. Knicks were able to hang on for a game 2 victory, but also you can tell Jimmy watching the game from the sideline, and we've heard players talk about being able to watch the game from another perspective to see the game better to help them on the floor.
Yeah,
you can kind of see the look on in his eyes. That's like, I think I can figure this out.
Yeah.
But Thibodeau is a defensive master, so we'll see what happens as far as what they do when Jimmy comes back. But I'm still gonna stick with the Heat, man. I'm gonna go Heat in 7.
Okay. I like that. Playoff Jimmy is real.
I think playoff Jimmy Spoelstra is gonna get them boys playing at a high level. They're gonna be flying all over the court. They're gonna play hard, shoot at a high clip. I just think their ability to shoot with Jimmy playing at that he just gets to a superstar level. He's no longer just a star. He's a superstar when it comes to the playoffs.
Okay. I like it. I'm actually on the opposite end of the spectrum, bro. I have the Knicks in 7. So I had the Knicks in 7 because I thought about this matchup, right? And I think, no disrespect to the Heat, I thought about playoff Jimmy, so I give him that. I thought about Eric Spoelstra, I give him that. I also look at you have like Bam out of bio there, but I'm like, at this point, Tyler Hero being hurt, Victor Oladipo being hurt, and the Knicks, unlike the Bucks, Ralph, are a younger team, a more youthful team, right? So they can endure a longer series or grueling series. They know how to get physical just like the Miami Heat. So I think the physicality and type of stuff, they're a type of team that can impose their physicality on their team. Jalen Brunson, he doesn't shy away from the moment. You don't have to worry about who has the ball in their hands. You know, in the fourth quarter, they have the certified closer. Also, Julius Randle, I saw he was averaging, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 26 points per game this season when he played against the Miami Heat, right? So I like that. I like the fact that well, they had home court. They don't have it now, so I believe it's going to wind up having to go down to the wire. But I like the fact that Mitchell Robinson, they have that size advantage of Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. So I'm looking at him being engaged, him finally being healthy as well, right? And last year he wasn't healthy, so I look at them being able to control the glass. Bam Adebayo being inconsistent once again. It's like, bro, they pay you this money. I need you to score some more points, man. So it's like, so I look at the New York Knicks, and I don't really worry about them as much. I actually think top to bottom, their roster is better. And last but not least, I got to give credit to R.J. Barrett, looking like he's taking that leap. So I think that the in conclusion, the Knicks are younger than the Bucks, who they played last year. They have the closer. They have Coach Thibodeau, who's going to stay on them defensively, and I believe the Knicks are ultimately deeper. So I think playoff Jimmy is what's going to take it to about 7 games. But I think the Knicks are going to actually make the Eastern Conference Finals. I cannot even believe I'm saying this, and I think that's going to be their Cinderella story, so to speak. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and
We'll
then
see.
we wrapped up this. They played this game last night, game one.
Mhm.
But we got Warriors and Lakers. I think that this one right here is going to be one. It's very intriguing, and
Mhm.
I don't want to spend too much time on it because we got to
Yeah,
get.
fair
I
enough.
really want to get to these quick hitters, but I
All right.
think the matchups and the ability to make adjustments because
Mhm.
LeBron is playing off ball,
Mhm.
which Draymond brought up in his podcast is something that we rarely see from LeBron. So it's gonna make it where you're not just able to just try to get the ball out of LeBron's hands, and then it's like, oh, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Where now they're playing more of a team game, where you got Vanderbilt, you got Reeves, you got D'Lo, you got Anthony Davis playing at a dominant high level. But can he give you that for 4 wins? And that's the thing for me is I think that I'm gonna stick with the Warriors because
Mm.
they're the champs until they're no longer the champs.
Mhm.
And so I'm gonna give the Warriors the nod at the end. I don't think I would have loved to see Jordan Poole in that last shot. He was 6 for 10 prior to that shot. So I don't think the shot itself was a bad shot. I would have liked to see him eat up that space. Maybe one dribble pull up for three, which is something that you know he can do. And so I don't think that shot is a bad shot. I think
Mhm.
it kind of gets blown out of proportion when you miss, because if he makes it, we're not even talking about whether or not that shot was a bad shot or not. And so I'm going to give the Warriors, I'm going to say Warriors in 6, although they lost game one.
Okay. Okay. Um, for the sake of time, I'm gonna say that with all due respect to the Golden State Warriors, I know they're the defending champs. I think I hit you up yesterday. I said that the Lakers will win game one, which they did do. They stole home court. And I think I believe I picked the Warriors to win the series. However, I can also admit, like when I see new information, I'll tell you what I initially picked. I'll never shy from that. But I will also say how I believe the series is going to go. I picked the Warriors to win this series. I don't believe they're going to win the series though. Based off of what I saw last night, I know it was game one. I realized I went back, Ralph, and I was like, I realized the Lakers have all the answers. They're going to have all the answers. It's just if they actually do it. In short, Anthony Davis. The Warriors have they will not and do not have any answer to Anthony Davis. They're
No.
going to eventually the Warriors are going to wind up playing zone defense. The problem is they played zone defense in game one. That's a problem. You had to go to the zone in game one. What are they going to do? The Lakers are going to prop LeBron James in the middle of the zone. Why? Because they did it against Miami in the bubble. He blew that zone up. Now, with doing that, you're forcing the Lakers to hit shots, but you have a D'Lo who shoots 41% from three. You have an Austin Reeves who shoots 38% from three. LeBron James is the only one who's shooting abysmal from three because he has a foot injury. I posted on my IG story. If you guys peep that, right? But if he starts hitting shots, the Warriors are going to be in trouble. So you knock that out. Also, they hit 21 threes and they lost the game. The Lakers hit 6 threes. They have a free throw advantage. 20 they went to the line 27 times. I think the Warriors went to the line 5 times. So I'm like, you have the inside advantage, you have the size advantage, you have the defensive advantage. Curry shooting 2 for 10 with Jared Vanderbilt, I believe, when he was guarding him. That may not last the series, but that's his only job. He went to Darvin Ham. We heard it on the telecast. He said, "Let me guard Steph." He's like, "Well, that's great. I was going to have him guard Steph anyway, right?"
Right.
So if Vanderbilt can do that, Ralph, you don't always have to blitz Steph on the pick and roll, like I was telling you the other night, right? You can actually alternate at times, right? If Steph gets hot. So I'm looking at it. You're trading the threes, the best shooting backcourt versus the interior force of AD. But I'll end it with this. They may have the best shooting backcourt, but the Warriors did not shoot the three well last series at all.
No.
So we need to see them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm looking at the Lakers. And I'm like, they actually have all the answers to the test. And if you look at the 15-7 Curry versus LeBron record, Curry never went up against LeBron when he had AD. AD looked locked in the post game. He said all the things. People are like, well, Kai, what about the barrage in the fourth? AD addressed it. He said we expected it. So now it's like I feel like if AD, to your credit, I agree with you. If AD can be consistent, Ralph, like they were saying last night, if he can be consistent and if he can be healthy, because we don't know if he can be healthy and he continues to play how he's playing, the Lakers will win the series. If he doesn't, they're not because Looney had 25 rebounds and they lost. They shot 40% from three and they lost. The Warriors proved they can win on the road last series. That's the thing that the Lakers should be worried about. But I think if the Lakers stick to their game plan and play that inside game, they can win the series. So I think the Lakers will win the series, but I picked the Warriors with all due respect, like you did, to win in 6. So
for the sake of time, we have to skip the Suns and Nuggets. We don't have time for that. But
we got the Suns.
Is it time for Kawhi to retire?
No, it's not time for him to retire, man. It's time for him to renegotiate his contract. That's about it.
I feel you. I do think that, man. I think that's true, bro. I think that like at some point when you're no longer playing even close to half the games,
yeah,
there's a conversation that got to be had, man. You got to renegotiate, bro, or I got to move you.
Crazy money.
Right. There's crazy money for not even like 60 games.
Yeah, they said I think he played 52% of his regular season games, but I'm like that's not good at all, man. Like
not at all. Not at all. Is it time for the WNBA to renegotiate the earnings split?
Yeah. I did a couple of research on numbers for that. I'm not going to give everyone with all the numbers, but pretty much what the difference, the disparity that they're having. And shout out to Kelsey Plum, the Aces, who mentioned this. She said we're not asking for the same salary as the NBA players. We're asking for the same percentage of the league revenue share. So you have team revenue and you have the league revenue, right? And so pretty much in short, what that is you have the corporate sponsorship, right? So say Ralph, the corporate the money the dollars they're getting is like 250 million, right? The NBA players get 50% of that. That's insane. Guess how much the WNBA players are getting? 30. They're getting 20% of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like 20-30%.
Exactly. So and then with the updated one, they it like dropped to like 10 somehow. So pretty much they're saying, why is that happening? And then you look at the broadcasting that they got with ESPN and ABC, the TV deal, right? I think the NBA or someone, or I think it was the NBA or the NFL. No, Major League Soccer got Apple. So Major League Soccer got Apple, and we're like, yo, if you're the WNBA, negotiate a new TV deal like Apple, and they're making them major dollars right now, Ralph. So pretty much what they're doing is the WNBA, they think they're slick. They don't want to let anyone know how much revenue is coming in so that you can't be like, okay, well, why aren't the WNBA players getting charter flights and this and that and the third like the NBA players? So that's really the issue. So I agree, they need to get the gap closed, but it's pretty much a percentage share. It's like, why are you only giving them 20%? And those are questions that the WNBA needs to answer to the players. That's it. That's really what it is. So for the people that were confused, I hope I could clarify that for you guys.
And then next up, we got Dylan Brooks. Is he being treated unfairly?
I'm gonna let you take the lead on that one.
And on this one, man, I think that, like, and I mentioned it before, I think he is. I think when you go and you talk about and you speak negatively of people's GOAT and LeBron, and as much as people try to act like they hate LeBron, when LeBron gets talked about negatively, it becomes a story.
Every day.
And so I think that, because if you look at his play, look at his numbers, the way that he's acting, all of yesterday, I've seen every person that I know to talk sports talked about under no circumstances do the Grizzlies plan on bringing him back. So whoever put out that report, I just think that that's foul. Because if we don't have a problem with Draymond doing it, if we didn't have a problem with Ron Artest doing it, if we didn't have a problem with Dennis Rodman, the way that he was getting in under people's skin and getting in their heads, like, I just don't understand why now all of a sudden it's a problem now. And so I'm just like I get it, because like I mentioned before, his 3-point shooting is abysmal.
Right.
But every team needs an enforcer. Every team needs, like, look at what Patrick Beverley was able to do for the Bulls team after he got signed to that team. We might not look at Patrick Beverley as this all-world player, but the Bulls played better with Patrick Beverley on that roster. Now, I'm not saying that Dylan Brooks is Patrick Beverley, but if he could get in the lab and actually have where his talk on the court and that mentality matches his output and production on the floor, that's where I think that he could be a major contributor on the team. Like, I would definitely take him on the Bulls team because I think the fact that he plays the 3-4 is something we miss when we go to our bench. Because he's 6'7", 230.
Yeah.
We end up playing Derrick Jones at that spot, and what's he, 6'8", maybe 210, 205, 200?
Yeah.
And so it's like when we go to our bench, you need someone like that that's going to be a dog, that's going to go out there and compete. And so I think he does get treated unfairly. And I do think the way that things are looking is as if we're questioning whether or not he deserves to be in the league. Like, the joke that you made, I understand it was a joke, but I've legit seen people on Twitter talking about, oh, he going to be playing in China next year.
I saw that too. I did see that. I didn't hear any confirmation that he's playing in no China. But people,
I'm like, no, ain't no way. If he's not in the league next year, it's some other stuff that's at hand here.
And then it would have to be some other stuff, politics.
And so next up, Ryan Garcia parts ways with his trainer, Goosen. Are you surprised?
With all due respect, I can't say I am, because I don't really know the inner workings of their relationship, right? I hear hearsay about, potentially, them not being able to get through to him. Like, when he throws his left, he automatically puts that right hand down. There's other different things about, the trainer not showing up to the press conference after the loss, all kinds of stuff, right? So based off, because I don't know their interpersonal relationship, right? I don't want to put out any misleading information. So I'm gonna say, even though he's a Hall of Fame trainer, I'm gonna say I'm not surprised, because I don't really know all that kind of stuff. There could have been some tension there or something like that. So just me being an outsider of it, I can't really say that but I'm curious to what you think.
I'm actually not surprised, bro. Like, I think when you have a fight this big, this magnitude, and then when you listen to Ryan's like the press conference after the fight, nobody was there but his family. Then when you listen to him speak and the way that he pretty much took his L, held his L, took it on the chin, and was just like, you know what? I was outclassed. I'm not in that league yet. But he's still young. So I think you get someone who you more identify with. Just because someone's a Hall of Famer doesn't mean that I'm going to listen to them, like, if I can't connect with them. So I think that I'm not surprised because Goosen is an older Hall of Fame trainer. So I think that Ryan is probably going to get back in the lab, take it more serious, get someone that he identifies with, and come back a better fighter and stronger fighter. So I'm not surprised that this happened.
All right.
Next up, we got Usman wants to fight. I hope I'm saying this right. Chimaev. After back-to-back losses. This is the thing for me is that after back-to-back losses, I understand you were holding the title before those back-to-back losses.
Right.
Both of those losses was to the person now holding the title. But then now you're going after the person that's pretty much would be the number one contender. Does he deserve this fight?
No, he has to wait in line and win. But also wait in line.
Yeah.
Because let the contender fight him first.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, no, I feel like that he's going against the code, man.
Yeah, I don't agree with this at all. I'm a big Usman fan. Don't get me wrong. I think Usman would be one heck of a fight because they're both known to be wrestlers.
Right.
So it's gonna be interesting where Usman is a stocky guy, where Chimaev is more of the long, wiry wrestler.
Yep, like that.
So I'm curious to see who will be able to impose their will. But I think Usman has not earned the right to for this fight. Now I can see him go out, you fight someone else, you win that fight. Now you get the loser of this fight. I can definitely understand and see where he would be able to and earn that opportunity to fight the loser of the Edwards and Chimaev fight. But right now, as we stand, I don't think he deserves that opportunity. And I had another topic, but I just realized Steph had a game in between that game 7 to now. You know what? We're just gonna rock with it.
All right.
Because it was a big deal to a lot of people. And that game 7, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that performance?
How many points did he score?
50.
I'm gonna give him 50. I'm gonna tell you, look, man. And Steph's not my favorite player, but I was in the game because I watched it with my dad, and I was like, at one point, Ralph, he literally dribbled like Bob Cousy through like 3 defenders and put the ball in the hoop. I was like, what? I literally screamed. I was like, bruh, no one can stop this dude. Then he falls. He's like levitating in the air, flips it up. I'm like, so now he's playing like Bob Cousy. He's playing like Steph Curry and a whole bunch of people. He got hot from 3. They couldn't stop him. And I'm just like, game 7, because we never seen that before on the road, though. Like, dude, and the thing is, I think, my bad. The thing is, if you look at the shot chart and you look at his teammates, with all due respect, bro, they needed every single one of those points to win the game.
True.
I even posted on Instagram, bro. I was like, yeah, Steph Curry. I think it was halftime. I was like, yeah, Steph Curry is hot right now, but his teammates aren't hitting anything. He needs his teammates. I literally said this. I said he needs his teammates to beat the Sacramento Kings. Steph pretty much said, F you, Kai, and then went off. Literally, I said he needs his teammates. I thought he needed his teammates. And then I guess his teammates couldn't hit shots. No disrespect to his teammates. But I was like, okay. He did what he was supposed to do, like we always talk about. Like, we expect a Kobe, a Mike, a Jordan, a LeBron, anyone, a Jimmy Butler, someone to take over the game. Okay, cool. I just really didn't expect him to do that. Like, I didn't go into the game and be like, yeah, Steph Curry's going to drop 50 points today in game 7 on the road. Not saying that he's not capable of doing it. I just didn't. That wasn't my mindset. I was like, oh, it's going to be a hard, tough battle, and the Warriors might lose. But then he went off. So I'm gonna give him a 50, man. I don't know.
For me, man, I'm not going that high, bro. I think that there's a lot of underlying things that if you only pay attention to that, it's misleading. Because when you watch the game, the eye test will tell you, yes, he's scoring all these points and nobody else is. But also, they're getting third, fourth, and fifth chances because Kevon Looney, nobody can keep Kevon Looney off the boards.
Yeah, that's true.
Then when you look at his team, he took twice as many shots as Klay Thompson, who had the second most shots. Andrew Wiggins had 16 shots. Combined, him and Klay Thompson shoot about 30%, 25% from field. Then when you look on the defensive end, they play good defense as well as the Kings just couldn't hit shots, man. We got De'Aaron Fox shot 26% from field. Malik Monk, 29% from the field. Harrison Barnes, I mentioned before, played 14 minutes and shot 25% from the field while in those 14 minutes. And so I think that all of these people being major contributors while also not being able to put up anything on their end while one person is taking over the game is really – and not being able to keep Kevon Looney off the board. So to me, I'll give him a 9 because it's a 50-point game in a game 7. We've never seen him shoot that many shots.
Yeah, I didn't know that though.
While also doing it on the road in a game 7, while they're known to not be able to win games on the road.
And the dynasty would have been over if he lost, though.
True.
Factor that in though. The dynasty's over.
There's a lot on the line. So like I'm not gonna sell it short, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is the greatest performance I've ever seen in my life. Like,
hey, it's all subjective at the end of the day, though. So,
yeah, true.
Fair enough, though. That's fair, though. That's fair. That is fair.
So we went way over, but for the sake of content, I kept it rocking. But make sure you go and follow us on Instagram. Type in that search bar, J.U.K. Sports Show. Go on Instagram and look for me. Look on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch at KYNGRALPH, add an underscore for Twitter. Go on Facebook, look up the He Say She Say channel. He Say She Say, all one word. The He Say She Say podcast will be coming back within the next week or two. We will be doing not live, but video podcasts. Right now it's only audio podcast. Check on YouTube as well at J.U.K. Go on Instagram. We just got done talking about NBA playoffs. Type in that search bar at the.houseofhoops for unbiased breakdown and analysis. But we got to get up out of here. We took up enough of your time. Enjoy the rest of this Sixers and Celtics game. I know I will. Peace.
MVP. Peace.
MVP.